Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope we're doing well, and today we'll be doing a box office preview for this upcoming weekend, which sees the wide release of The Batman, which just opened officially yesterday, last night, actually even last afternoon, as it had showtime starting as early as 3 p.m. This is, of course, after having a fan event on Tuesday and then some special screenings on Wednesday, one of which I was able to attend. I gave my review of the film, and I still hold to my initial review and my initial grade of giving the film a B+. I think there's a lot of stuff to like about the movie. I also think that there are definitely elements in the film that are a bit too on the nose in relevance to modern day political stuff, and I don't like those elements of the film, but luckily they are quite brief, and I don't really think that they take away necessarily from the entirety of the film. They definitely take you out of the film for the moments that they happen, especially the comment made by Catwoman about white privilege. Yes, indeed, that is a comment made in the film, but luckily, it said, it's moved on, and the movie being over 3 hours, almost 3 hours long, I think kind of indicates that we're talking about brief seconds of film versus, the plethora of other content in it, which, again, I can't just take away the beautiful cinematography, I can't take away the beautiful score, I can't take away some of just the beautiful production design and some of the really cool story elements that are presented just because of a couple of moments like that, just personally in this instance. So before going any further, though, please make sure that you smash that like button, live that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with that bell notification on. That way you know every time a new video or live stream goes live on the channel. Also, blessed Lent to everybody out there. Remember, it is a Friday, so no meat. Anyway, The Batman is expected to make $150 million domestically, according to Box Office Pro. Remember that Box Office Pro does their own number crunching, so while the industry so-called experts will have their own projections for the film, remember that we talked about a couple days ago how, at least over at Deadline, the industry experts were saying that the film was expected to make over $225 million worldwide this weekend. I think we can look at this number and say that I think those numbers are going to start to creep up just a little bit because a lot of positive reviews are coming from this movie, not just from critics, but also from audiences as well. There's definitely, I think, an argument to be made that there is definitely a divisive or a not contrarian, but yeah, I think you could say that the film is divisive in certain respects. I know that some of the people that I'm close with don't have the same opinions that I do, are really kind of tearing this film apart. One even said in the comment section, shout out to Tom from Midnight's Edge, he left a comment saying, the more I think about the film, the more I dislike it. And I said, hey, I can totally understand why that is the case. Again, when you have a 3-hour film especially, there's so much content, there's so much to digest, and I think that this is the kind of movie, especially where I really enjoyed it the first time, but I do question, okay, if I see it a second time, would I even want to see it a third time? Is it that kind of movie? Right at this point, I would like to see it again, but because of going into it, knowing the things that I know, I'm obviously going to be paying attention to other things that I may have missed the first time around, and I think that that is definitely something that this film could potentially suffer from. So really, the number that I'm going to be looking for, especially for this film, just like with all films, right, is that second weekend drop-off, because this opening weekend, I think, is going to show and indicate the hype surrounding this film, right? The people who really, showing how many people really want to go see this film. I think it's going to continue, just like Spider-Man No Way Home, to break the pandemic narrative that if you have a film that people actually genuinely want to see, that actually does a good job in marketing itself, that is actually a film that people, feel like they can go into escape with, guess what? They're going to go see it. We've seen that with Spider-Man No Way Home. We've seen that with Uncharted. We've seen that with so many other films that have come out this year. And so, again, it's just interesting to me that that pandemic narrative was used for so many failures from the MCU. And then you look at films like this from the Batman, you look like Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's just like, well, we can explain it just by saying, blah, basically, is how I would do my impersonation of the people of the box office, so-called experts that have been, again, making excuses for all of this stuff. But according to Box Office Pro, $150 million is the projection for this weekend for The Batman, which is quite impressive. Again, definitely up there, and definitely indicates that if it can hold, and that's the big question, can this 3-hour film hold in week 2, week 3, week 4, like we saw with Spider-Man No Way Home, which is a lot shorter than this film is, at least by a good 30 or 40 minutes. So is that going to be able to, hold it over? I think this film being a PG-13, it definitely helps with it. And that was one thing I didn't mention in my review, is that it is a PG-13 film. However, there definitely are elements where I could see they could have easily pushed it to be an R. They could have easily added, extra language, but for me, I think that it's kind of cheap to do that with. I don't feel like it's necessary to do that with. And obviously, they could have even made it more violent than it already was. But there's already quite a bit of violence in the actual film itself, which I think speaks more to our own rating system about how you can have so much violence in a movie and have it be PG-13, but you have one extra F word, and then all of a sudden it's an R film. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me personally. But the Batman being PG-13, even though it is a 3-hour film, it does mean that it's going to be much more accessible. It means that more people are going to have access to watch it age-wise. But it is still limited in the number of showtimes that it can have because of that close to 3-hour runtime. However, that being said, it is being opened in over 4,000 screens, 4,400 screens to be precise. And so that is definitely going to be something that's going to help it out. Uncharted is also coming out in its 3rd week of release and is expected to make around $10.8 million, which would bring it to the $100 million mark in the domestic marketplace, dropping another 53%. That's another number I'll be looking to as well, because Uncharted is on track to be able to break even and to make some money back. But one of the things that I said could hinder that would be the success of the Batman. And sure enough, the Batman is indeed taking up all of the box office money, so that other films that have been doing well are obviously seeing some pretty major drops, at least when it comes to films like Uncharted. Dog is actually expected to hold strong with a 26% drop, with $7.5 million there. Spider-Man No Way Home, another $3.6 million, just insane numbers there, $785 million. Remember, this film was projected to only make $750 domestically, so this film is definitely over-exceeding expectations and is, again, kind of chugging along to the question of, okay, is it going to get to the 1.9? Is it going to get to potentially even 2 billion by the end of its run? We'll have to, of course, wait and see. Disney on the Nile, Disney on the Nile. Really, it is like Disney on the Nile because it is a death of Disney on the Nile, with another $2.8 million there. A very sad number there. The domestic 37.1. Again, the film's not all that great, so, really how sad is that? Sing 2, Little Engine That Could, still holding on. Again, these drops for Sing 2 have been truly, truly impressive. Jackass Forever continues to stick around as well. Marry Me and Cyrano. Again, Cyrano, 48% drop. However, it was only available in a limited number of screens. I don't know what their thought is for this film. I don't know if they want this film to make its money back or not. You don't do that by only releasing it in 800 screens. I don't quite understand. And then Scream 5 is actually sticking around. However, it looks like it is almost finally out of the theaters, but it made its money back. It did exactly what it was wanting to do. As you can see, the Batman has wings, according to Deadline, with a $5.3 million from early overseas play, which sets Warner Brothers pandemic records, which I will say isn't hard to do. For them to say that a Warner Brothers film has set records for them during the pandemic is not surprising at all when you look at the films that they have released, many of which have been terrible crap, and of course their stupid day-and-date release model with HBO Max impacting those numbers as well. It isn't all that surprising that that is indeed the case. And so this then breaks down all the different countries and what they have given the film so far. And so we'll have a full breakdown of that for our box office breakdown this Sunday. But what will be interesting for me to watch is just how strong it how strong of an opening weekend it has, right? Does it hit that $225 million that they were projecting that this film was going to make? And is that going to be something that's going to hold from week 1 to week 2 to week 3, etc.? Because this film cost a lot of money. As you can see over here, there are two numbers here, $185 million to $200 million for the budget. The $185 comes from Scotty Boy Mendelsohn, who I don't trust at all. Whereas the $200 million comes from Variety, who I don't trust either. However, Variety tends to have a little bit better accuracy when it comes to those numbers, and again, typically more access to that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and say that $200 million sounds about right for the budget for this film. So because of a $200 million budget, it means that with marketing costs, typical marketing cost, the film in total would cost around $300 million. The break even, though, which is about 2.5 times the projected budget of the film, means, I know, that's a lot of money, River. It's insane. $500 million is the break-even point for this movie. So if this film is able to get to the $250 million number this weekend, right? So it said projected to make over $225 million worldwide. Let's say it does get to $250. Let's say it does get close to $300 million. It'll put itself in a very strong position to be able to reach its break-even number by week 2. If it is able to only just get to the $225 million, and if word of mouth starts to maybe sour amongst fans, and especially amongst the rewatchability of it, because I know, River. Rewatchability is a very major factor when it comes to films holding strong as well, not just because it's about people who are being told that the film is good, going to see it again, or rather told that the film is good and seeing it for the first time, but it's also very much reliant on people seeing it more than once. So does this film have that rewatchability factor that films like Spider-Man No Way Home had that's going to be able to keep those numbers going strong? That is going to be, to me, the interesting story here. I think it is going to be done, and I think it's going to be done within the first couple weeks. But we're going to have to wait for the actual numbers to come in to know for sure. But what are y'all's thoughts? Do you think The Batman is going to get to that $225+ million projected opening weekend that Deadline had a couple days ago? And also, do you think it's going to get to what is now being talked about as $150 million domestically, according to Box Office Pro? Again, I think that's quite interesting numbers there. Their range for the film is between 130 and 170. So they expect the film to make as little as 130 domestically, as much as 170. And if we're seeing numbers closer to 170, that means that $225 million, again, becomes that much closer to $300 million in opening weekend, which would be quite strong and insane, and also would be one of the best, not just box office openings, but box office totals in total for Warner Brothers in the last 2 years, which of course would be just very impressive. So let me know your thoughts about that. Anything else I mentioned in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button, slap that fire button if you're watching on Odyssey. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Blessed First Friday, everybody. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my March Patreon Subscribestar and Locals members. Starting off first with my Patreon members, animation commentator Brandon, let's go Brandon, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Fuzz Aldrin, Garrett Searles, Hannibal Grimm, Harold Francis, Hymir Ari Hymason, Inflamed Wood, Jacob Juice, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Gomer Kyle 79, Laura, the Modern Major General Story, Mike Jackson, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mondo Spieler, Mr. Peabody, On to June, Orange Chat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Rosetta Allen, Stan Andrian, Miss Martin Muses, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and, of course, Tina B., the Empress of the Universe. Also, a shout-out to my Subscribestar members, starting off with Trent Johnson, Matt317, UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson, Storm Tracker, The R, Nosferatu Gatsu, Stan 4, John B., Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss / the new number 2, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. And a final shout out to my Locals members, Kara Tharp, UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson, and Robert Barnes. Thank you all so very much for being supporters, monthly supporters of the channel. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every single live stream and every single video, please check out the pinned, the very top link in the video description. It is noted as the Willow link there. It'll bring you to basically a link tree of all the different places that you can support on Patreon, Subscribestar, or on Locals. And also there are other tiers that you can get access to as well, including an Army of Asgard level where you get not only the shout out, but you also get access to a giveaways channel that I have on my Discord, where you get offers of giveaways, or rather you get access to giveaways of 4K titles, Blu-rays, digital codes, all kinds of stuff, steelbooks. It's just, I'm giving away stuff all the time over there, and it's a lot of fun as well. So go check that out if you're interested. There's also the Keeper of the Bifrost level, which is the higher level up than that, and you get everything from the previous tiers. Plus, you get access to a once or twice a month podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger, where you get to ask us Q&A, right? You get to ask us questions, any question that you like, movie or non-movie related. We will answer them once, maybe twice a month. We're trying to work on a second opportunity for us to have a show, but right now it's at least once a month. So again, you get access with that with the Keep of the Bifrost level. And then there is the Chosen Chosen of Valhalla level, the very premium level, where you get access to all of those things. Plus, you get to be featured on the channel once a month with me and the other Chosen members, where we talk about movies and stuff. Anything really that the Chosen want to talk about. And it's always a very fun discussion. We usually have about 3.5 hour discussion. So again, that's what you get access to at the Chosen of Valhalla level. Also, you get a free t-shirt during your first month. All you need to do is just let me know what t-shirt you want from the store, and also their size, location, etc. And I send those out anywhere in the world. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Thank you all so very much again for your love and for your support. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.